Alright, folks. I know that today is not really a great day for much of anyone for a lot of reasons, but let's go ahead and do this. The event sucks, by the way. And I'm not just saying that because of, the general everything, but whatever. We're gonna fight all four of these Earth element raids, and I'm going to solo them, and they're gonna die, and it's gonna be hilarious. I hope. You can see that I have like no brown dragon scales for some reason. I don't know where they all went. Also, I'm going to be using an extremely gimmicky party for most of these raids. I do not like playing wind. It's like kind of the worst element in the entire game, if you ask me. I know there's ways to make it good, but I don't like those. And honestly, we're gonna do this in the dumbest way possible here. We're not even going to deal with the side target. We're just going to destroy everything else. We apply all of our debuffs. And yeah, that's basically all I do with wind is just, hey, I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna do time on target, we're gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh, at least. And we're not gonna do this just yet because I want to save that for a moment until next turn. %, one turn is pretty good for this. And yeah, I know I didn't really explain what I do here. That's all I can say is This team is bad and so am I. I'll probably be in much higher spirits next week when I do the wind raids. And I get to have fun again. Oh, that worked out probably as nicely as it could have, actually. That's very solid turn there. I'm actually not gonna just use that charge meter right away, even though I probably could. Wow, these are... I'm getting ridiculous luck here. This... Oh, right. I forgot mirror image. Haha. Not as good luck as I thought, but still. I'll take it. Alright. Just keep going. Amazing how I'm getting, like, no multi-attacks whatsoever as, Oh, Matera got turned to stone. Who cares? Gosh. The thing that makes it worse is that I swear she has no performance whatsoever after turn 1. Like, I just have the worst luck with her. And it makes me really sad. It's like, okay, you get Great Fall once. Cool. You did something useful. Oh no, not my Oh, right. I forgot I had substitute for that, so main character took the entire meter loss there, and that's unfortunate. Anyway, the main thing we wanted is right here. Median can do Nitro Boost. And he's just going to dominate this entire fight. Because look at that damage. he has, like, massive damage cap increases, I think. So, yeah. He's gonna be doing a lot of work here. Even if the main character doesn't. And he's literally the only one who doesn't turn to stone because he can't. He's immune to... I think he's immune to literally every debuff right now, right? Yep, immune to debuffs. So, yeah, we might still be able to clear this turn? Oh, not quite. Damn. Well, we're laughing. I'll give Wind some points that it can clear some things really fast, but that's about it, and it's really not everything. Hey, you gained some levels, buddy. Oh yeah, I was about to like go into the raid list. That's not what we need to do. We need to do this. We need to fight Yggdrasil Omega Impossible. I've never been able to pronounce that name properly, so yes. I'd apologize, but like even if I did, nobody would probably say anything. So this fight, we actually basically have to deal with the ad, because otherwise it will like stack a bunch of buffs on the main boss, I think, and basically just cause us a lot of trouble. Oh, look at all these paralyzes we're landing. That's pretty good. Never to be complained about. Sadly, we're not going to get this thing to 50% this turn, which would be nice, but we're going to get a decent amount of damage here. It's not quite to 55 either, that's a shame. However, it's paralyzed. The main boss is basically paralyzed because of Temperance, which, geez, that turned out to be a really good thing to max out as soon as possible. Not only because Wind has garbage for HP, but also just for the general purpose of, hey, let me get that easy paralyze there on turn 1. Alright, Raphael should stop anything untoward happening, basically. Like, wow, there is kind of nothing going on in this fight right now. This is amazing RNG I'm getting, and I'm pretty sure most of it is luck anyway. Yeah, the charm is definitely pure luck. You know, double delay is pretty useless. So, I'll just do this. Matera's thing is that when she has those ethereal shafts, her skills all double. Which is why, even though this skill is like 8-turn cooldown, it actually deserves it, because being able to spam that with impunity at like 5, 6 turns that a good delay skill otherwise would be at would be kind of ridiculous. And we're gonna do this now and get Midian into triple attack mode as fast as possible. Because, honestly, just get as much done as we can. Oh, nice. This. Activate Nitro Boost, and away we go. See, I forgot about the nuke from evasive maneuvers and thought that I would just have to, take care of that circle next turn from the AoE effect from, triple attacks from Redline Kid over there. Also, again, wow, I'm so not used to seeing, like, none of this happen. Yeah, I think that's the first time the main boss has done a special attack this entire fight. And it was kind of useless. We took, like, less than 2,000 damage each from the element we're weak against. Yeah, so that's the big saving grace of playing Wind, is that most of the Earth bosses kinda suck. So we can usually just clear through them pretty easily. Alright, so... And we should be... Oh, I see we didn't land the held back effect, so... Here we go. We're not taking any big hits this turn, but doing evasive maneuvers now anyway is a good idea, because then we get that reflect-ish effect. No reason to do that right now. I could have put on Fina's dodge. Or... Fina? Yeah, that's... Unfortunately, there's two characters who are named Fina and Tina. Their names are, like, almost exactly the same, and I confuse them a little too easily, even though I... I'm just kind of bad at video games, basically, is what I'm saying. And even worse at names. Alright. Okay, so the boosted charm effect missed, and we're back out of break, so we gotta do the delay now. Which is fine, because that's what it's there for, is to be used. I guess we could have just left it to luck. Okay, so what this does, if you've never seen this effect before, this is Raphael's special buff here. Oh, and that's me highlighting over one of the things on the side, and you get some Japanese text. This, I think, should still work, even though, yeah, do the thing. Okay, yeah. Our boss is just stuck here. One thing that, like, why I'm really bad at communicating a lot of this is because I'm never really sure if I should be using, like, the terms that the fans would know, or if I should be using the Japanese terminology versus the English, if it's, like, some kind of, what's the term I'm looking for here? Oh, I hate when this happens. Well, we got a summon, so we got some free quartz. Nice. If it's some kind of big faux pas or something to be talking one way or the other, I swear, I feel like people who are fans of this game are a lot more hostile than they actually are. I think maybe I just have this overly nervous disposition or something. So let's go on to the main event, a raid that I don't remember literally anything about, basically, in terms of how to actually do this solo. So, we might die! We might die, and I'm sure that there's at least somebody here who will find that possibility hilarious. So, to deal with this, we're going to switch to a very different team from what I usually use. Well, very different compared to this, anyway. You can see that I'm using a completely different class, and only one character is the same between these two. So, I don't remember when Alexiel does anything. At all. Let's fucking go. Set up our buffs. We don't need to do this yet. And we're going to spend 2 of these. This is one of the best skills in the game. There's a lot of good reasons why people kind of consider wind one of the best elements. And a large amount of them, Urias is like one of the best characters in the game. So, unfortunately, he has extremely few voice lines of his own. So we're going to hear that a lot throughout the entire fight. Strap the fuck in, kids. And unfortunately, we rolled sleep immediately, and that's actually good and all, but I'm about to waste it. We do this, we get a bunch of damage, she wakes up immediately. And now is when we start doing all of our damage skills for the turn. And by for the turn, I mean for the next several turns, really. And let's drop a big hit in here. Admittedly, there's a reason why I kind of like the... There's a reason why I kind of like the V2 battle system, which is the new thing. Because you can tell what's coming when, basically. And you have special ways of negating the attacks, but that's not really important. Honestly, the big thing here is just that I know how to, I would know what's coming when. Here, it's basically just, oh, do you remember this chart of HP percentage values that tells you when the shit's about to hit the fan? And the answer to that is, good lord, no. Alright, can you get you to fall asleep, please? No? Alright. Hey, Retro Fanatic. How's it going? I'm doing okay, aside from the news, which I don't want to get too deep into. Alright, so, just for reference, because our debuff has massively capped out at this point, I'm going to keep using that skill to boost this, and also to get a chance to get to hopefully land sleep. It maxes at 10 stacks, so there's honestly kind of no reason to do it after a little while. But also, thankfully, Urias's meter charges really fast, so there's not too much to worry about there. The damage numbers are really impressive looking, but keep in mind that a lot of this does have a bit of that sort of rating flavor to it that, like, this is intended to be done with multiple people. This 1 out of 30, we can have 30 players in here if we wanted to. But it would get obliterated immediately is a big thing. I'm doing this solo because I'm kind of... I'm a bit strange, we'll put it that way. There's not much reason to pop that off right now, I don't think. Yeah, although I'd kind of strain to call this card battle unless you think of the characters as being specific cards, in which case there's a little bit of that to it, I guess. It looked like cards in the bottom part. It has the aesthetic of it, yes, by all means. It's just that, you know, again, yeah. It's... That is kind of an aesthetic with a lot of these gacha game RPGs, is that they're very heavily stylized as being kind of card game-ish. I guess because it's a very easy style of game to like, and it's sort of attractive in its sense. Oh, absolutely. Her sword is completely ridiculous looking. We actually can get a couple of those if we're lucky from this fight. It's an available drop. I don't think it's that large, like, when your character uses it, but I haven't had that as, like, a main weapon for a character in a while. Alright. Burn your meter a little bit, buddy. I'm actually gonna mute him for a second by clicking out of the window. And we didn't get asleep. Damn. I'm playing this in a browser, actually. It's designed that, yes, you can play this on a mobile device, but it is more browser-based. It's actually kind of hardware-intensive, I think. So, like, playing this on a tablet would not be very much advised. Pop this on right now. I think everybody's at 5 crests, so I don't necessarily need to summon Eliel, but it's damage. It's a lot of damage. There's a fighting game that is available for consoles and PCs, and there is, supposedly, it's starting to turn into Kingdom Hearts 3 at levels of I'll believe it when I see it, an actual RPG called Granblue Fantasy Relink, which is supposed to be coming out. Which, that was very much designed like... Platinum actually worked on Relink at one point. Unfortunately, their contract with the creators of Granblue has ended, so they are not currently employed on that. It did have... Oh, geez, it almost knocked my pop filter... knocked my pop filter away there. The early demos in the biggest air quotes possible, because, you know, it's more like, oh, here's footage of proof of concept, tech demo kind of thing, of Relink, did make me think that it was going to have a little bit of that sort of Nier Automata edge to it, which had me very hyped. Excuse me. Unfortunately, I don't know the status of the project right now. I've heard the fighting game is very good, but I haven't been able to afford it on console, and in kind of the ultimate bastard move, yeah, anyone could get in on this, but I'd have to, like, post the raid code for this and in order to invite people into this specific fight. But playing the game would not be too hard. There's definitely tutorials out there if you want to register for it. The English translation is very good. It is free to play. There's the usual gacha transaction stuff, but of course you can pretty much ignore that. And honestly, they give you enough of, like, they give you enough freebie draws that I don't think it's ever necessary to actually do that unless you really want to. I, at no point, felt truly pressured to spend money on this. It's shockingly forgiving. Although, admittedly, it is the draw pools are starting to get a little bit crowded because the game is going on, like, 6 years old or something. It may even have broken 6 years. Yes, the reason why there's two sets of grids up there is because I'm using 2 different parties to deal with this set of raids. So right now, in fact, I'm going to tab out of the window for a second so that way the sound doesn't overtake me. Right now, the game is running an event where for each week, each of the 6 main elements, this started at like the beginning of the month, have been giving out bonus drops. So like the first week, it was all the fire raids, and then it was all the water raids. We're on the earth ones now. Wind will be next week, then light and dark as far as I can tell. So I've been doing streams where I've been soloing all of these fights just to, basically just to show off and, maybe possibly segue into doing a little bit of content for this game on my stream in more of a greater sense, because I have a lot of fun with it, even if the format is not necessarily the sort of thing that everybody would be super into. Yeah, so yes, those are items equipped. You can see that there's the main weapon over on the left, and it has these skills that's probably not going to tell you a whole lot unless you've played the game. And then these other 9 weapons contribute to your stats, and they have these abilities that give various bonuses. So, for example, the long rifle that you'll see 2 of in the top grid and 3 of in the bottom grid, because they're just sort of equipped to your party in general. They don't have discrete equipment. It just sort of affects everybody's stats, and everybody gains the bonuses. For example, from that rifle, as you take damage, your health, as your health goes down, your attack power goes up. So, like over here, Tiamat is at a little less than her starting health, I believe. So she's getting somewhat of an attack bonus just from being there, basically. And yeah, I'm pretty sure by now all of my buffs have fallen off. So let's go ahead, and by buffs I mean debuffs. Buffs are usually turn counter based, although some enemies' buffs will be based on amount of time left, whereas debuffs tend to be based on timer. There are some that are based on turns, like you can see this blind up here is in the little diamond. First of all, if there were more players in the raid, nobody else would be fighting this boss as if it was blinded, but also it lasts for only 3 turns. No more, no less, no matter how long it is between those 3 turns. So if I were to sit here and like go make some chicken or something, I could come back and that would still be here. Although it would be very weird to take like a 25-minute break, 30-minute break-ish in the middle of a stream if I'm not between games. And honestly, even if I was between games, it would be a little funky. Also, yeah, you can definitely see that Urias's charge damage there is going up. He's up to 3 million for that big attack. How many millions of HP does this boss have? God, I think at least 250 million. I'd have to actually go look. In fact, I will do that right this minute. Do, 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 do. 380 million, so I lowballed that by a lot. This is, like, actually a kind of a hard fight, just by virtue of it takes forever for a lot of people. Although, Wind is very good at doing, like, fast one-turn strikes, so if you get... So if this raid was public, it would probably just dissolve as soon as people started funneling in. Meanwhile, I'm over here having to hope that I get to a point where my crits, which, yeah, my grid is set up in such a way that I'm guaranteed to land critical attacks. But even then, that's not necessarily helping my DPS out a lot because they're only for 30% bonus damage. Crit mechanics in this game are a little different than you'd expect from the average RPG. I think I explained this in another stream, but of course you weren't here, Retro. So yeah, I have a pretty large cast of characters that I could probably show off like how big it is after this, but I'm only allowed to have 4 at the front of my party, and if I'm going it solo, then nobody else is going to be able to contribute, obviously. So I'm not quite able to dissolve this the way some people do. But again, a lot of this, I don't know if my title still says flexing or not, but, you know, part of this really is a flex. It's to be like, hey, look what I can do. How long would it take to get to my level of power? A while, I'll say that. I'm trying to give a generalized trajectory of how far I've gotten to, how long it's taken me to get to where I am. And also, like, keep in mind, I've been playing this game for a few years at this point, total. And I've gotten some very lucky draws, and another thing you have to keep in mind is that it is often very important to spend your draws at the right time, because certain characters are time limited. Some of them are available only at certain times of the month. Some of them are only available at certain times of the year in general. You used to play Record Keeper, but that game doesn't hold your interest anymore. I've heard good things about Record Keeper and have not played it myself, though. So, the draw thing, like down here, Cerule, I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce his name, is a Christmas exclusive version of the character. So you basically can only get him in, like, mid-December, pretty much. You played Record Keeper for several years. I think I've played this for, well, I think I would have broken 3 years in August is what it is. So yeah, I can kind of understand playing something like this for a very long time. And if the number of like, oh, it's been 4 years, it's been 3 years or something, if that's concerning to anybody out there who is interested in playing this, let me inform you that there is very good and increasingly good onboarding for newer players. Like, in addition to, there's a lot of, like, missions that'll get you good freebies. There's a ton of very available bonus draws. They've added most of the old events to a side story set that are completely free to get into as soon as you get to a certain point in the plot, which is usually pretty early. And that's just free real estate in terms of characters. And yeah, the onboarding is just super good. It's not, don't be concerned about, oh, you've been playing for 3 years. I would certainly recommend using a more modern browser, that is for sure, if your version of Firefox is particularly out of date. Alright, can we roll some more sleep here just to get some more damage in? Apparently not, but I can do that. 5602. I do not know Firefox browser versions very well at all. So that may not be super helpful to me. But I expect okay. I do expect that updating it would kind of be a protracted process, to say the least there. Okay, so you might have caught the little profile picture for Alexiel here blinking. I believe we're firmly in a second phase now, which at 50% would kind of make sense. We're also not getting like any of these attack triggers going off because of... Oh, right, because the add-on... Oh, Jesus, I forgot about that being an issue with Firefox whatsoever, because Like, wow, that... Jeez, that feels like ancient internet history at this point. I don't know what the current status of that issue is, so I can't help you on that one, unfortunately. Alright, so this is the triggered attack we were supposed to get at 50%. She sets her Mirror Blade attack again. Targeting is... I think that doesn't change the attack order, but we really want to get rid of both of these. Unfortunately, I only have the one Dispel effect, but that's okay. Raphael, do your thing, hopefully. It's a fixed amount of damage. However, it's still extremely irritating. Especially because I'm pretty sure that the fixed damage from the Mirror Blades is a lot more than her regular attacks are going to be doing at this point in the fight. Oh, no, that's later. Possibly. I don't think she does a whole lot of things that are like, here's a fuckload of damage right away from it. It's mostly like annoying stuff like that, and that defense boost, as you can see, is fucking huge because Urias should not be dropping from doing 3 million to 800,000 from that. Okay, there'll be the big hit, is the Mirror Blade Helix. And I'd say that was unaffected by Raphael's ability, but Raph didn't land that anyway. So yeah, that was kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie. We don't have a mirror image up right now, but... Is this the part where she starts doing hit everybody attacks, or is that later? My only real way of ignoring it is either letting it time out, which it already has, or dispelling it, which I would need another dispel, I think, to deal with that, because I'm pretty sure it only comes up at the same time as the Mirror Blade effect. Alright, Temperance, can you do your thing for me? No, but that's okay. I have a means of dealing with that. I can just throw up this Lucid Grace for defense here. Yeah, the dodging is primarily because a lot of characters keep getting buffs called Mirror Image, which I'll explain in a second after I answer about Stellar Glow. I have heard of Stellar Glow, but I cannot place mentally what it is. Is that the one that's related to Luminous Arc? Or very similar to Luminous Arc anyway? Strategy RPG. Okay, yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking of then. So there's been a lot going on in this part of the fight. I have basically not noticed that she's doing... Yeah, she's doing hit everybody attacks. So we pretty much only want to bother with Mirror Image at certain points. Yeah, I never got around to finishing Luminous Arc, but I kind of liked it. So, the Mirror Image buff that I referred to earlier is provided currently by this ability of Tiamat, which we haven't used, primarily because we haven't had anything break our little Veil status, which this is the same thing. It won't do anything for us, especially if she doesn't do any status effects. Or either the summon on the far right or far left of our set here, which are the same. It's just that this one I have skinned over with a different summon, because it's an event summon that is based on characters that I really like. And so, yeah. However, attacks that hit everybody guaranteed do not activate mirror image. And it's consumed once we dodge a single hit. So that Logolf attack is a multi-hit move. So it will we'll dodge hits for our mirror images, but otherwise it's not really useful to use it in this part of the fight. Right, she's in overdrive. So the overdrive meter. Let me use a potion on Tiamat. We don't have to worry too much about the overdrive, except to see what she's going to do with her meter charge here instead of what she was doing earlier. It might be worse. It might be more manageable in a way, but we'll see how it goes. Actually, most of the time, overdrive is something that I don't usually care too much about, except with certain way harder than this raids. Or for a very select few skills. Alright, so she's doing Mirror Blade Eruption and targeting Serral. He's still got an image, so he will dodge one hit from what is probably going to be Logolf. Alright. So, yeah, it's kind of not the best turn to be using all of our skills like that, but it's kind of free real estate at this point in terms of damage, I guess. Oh, she didn't do it. Oh, okay, so I guess that, well, the Supercell debuff landed, and I guess it does block that? I'm gonna be honest, this has never come up, and also I clicked into the interface by accident instead of clicking the back button. I say as if that's not part of the interface. I'm not good at words. Okay. So I'm gonna let Urias fire off his charged attacks, so that way he can provide some bonus meter to everybody. That's a thing that hasn't come up a whole lot in this particular episode, is that when somebody uses a charge attack, everybody else who hasn't done any sort of charge that turn will get 10% bonus to their charge meter. And I think that Urias has just a default ability that speeds up how fast his meter charge is. On top of that, so if somebody else did it, he'd be getting like 11% instead of 10, which is small, but it's nice. It means I can fire off a debuff and still, have him do his regular turn, and still get a small gain. Is what I'm trying to say eventually. Alright, can we land this? Probably not at this point. Oh, okay, we do get one turn of blocking whatever she's got for us, which I will gladly accept. I don't think this is going to be a multi-hit, so I don't think that mirror image is going to help us, but I'll throw it out anyway. Oh, she's doing this again, of course. I guess that's her only thing she does during overdrive. I could have sworn she did more, but apparently not. Alright, so we'll do this. You can spend some more of your stuff there. Right, negate. Everybody still has their mirror image up, so there's no real point to doing that. Use our buff. Oh, that's always nice if you just find something like that on a big discount after giving it a shot and finding you like it. Always a good time. Alright, so the defense buff is down. It's time to do some stuff this turn. You don't think it was on sale when you downloaded the demo? Interesting. Well, I mean, I guess it kind of happens. But I admit that I'm the sort of person who will, like, just remember something suddenly from years later. Let's do this. Unfortunately, we didn't get a sleep, but at this point, I'm pretty sure that there's been enough rolls through that she'd be immune to it by now. So another thing is that a lot of the higher level bosses they usually have like scaling debuff immunity, where the more they get hit by something, the more likely they are to just resist it. So I'm surprised that a lot of these land at all at this point. I guess it doesn't apply to everything, possibly? Yeah, we're getting pretty close to done here. She's probably going to pull out a big desperation attack pretty soon, because this turn we are, like, all but guaranteed to knock her to 10%. So that's either going to be her regular one or... Okay, I'm pretty sure that that's just a normal thing. Oh shit, she actually fell asleep. Oh my god. What a guy. I'm letting him have all of his voice lines just for that. That is excellent luck. So we're not gonna take whatever ridiculous shit she would probably be throwing at us. Just from time-based, not time, well, sort of time, but health percentage, and also the target attack doesn't go off and the target falls off of. Gee, I think it was on Ceruel that turn too, so we wouldn't need to heal him or risk losing him. And honestly, he provides a lot to the team, so I would rather he'd stay up. Alright, we're like almost done here, so I'll be able to finalize this this set of things pretty soon. No, it was 1.6 million probably. 16 million is like way past its damage cap. Okay, she does something at 5% and it's just this. That's kind of sad. Yeah, to be fair, there's a lot of numbers flying around, so if you look at that and you're like, what? Yeah, it's kind of scary. Actually, that is not true. The cap is not... Well, okay, so our guy died. That's a shame. Well, I think Matera's just going to take this from here, because she's got a lot of skill damage. Never mind, she's doing like she usually does and disappointing the fuck out of me. Well, that's okay. This is it. This is our winning turn here. Oh, they're pretty good, but I've seen her push to, like, 2 million plus on top of that. Yeah, I got hit with something pretty big that just obliterated Ceruel. I'm pretty sure that was the target move. So, okay, damage cap is a little bit fluid in this game. Basically, everything has its own unique soft cap. So, like, normally a regular attack... It kind of sounds like that, right? Everything has its normal sort of, like, soft damage cap. Like, a normal attack is something like 440,000 is your damage cap on that. But you can sort of break it because the math can be a little bit wibbly. It's not a hard cap. There is apparently no true hard and fast limit to damaging. The cap, as it were, is basically just that you scale unbelievably poorly past that. Like, if you're hitting up against the 440k damage cap, good fucking luck breaking into good luck breaking into 500k is what I'm saying. Even though 60k is kind of a small gap between those, you will probably never get there. Wow, my funky pronunciation is coming in handy there. Meanwhile, critical hits have a damage cap of 1 million or so for regular attacks. Plus, I think it just adds to damage cap of skills. And some things will just, like, generally increase damage caps in general. Like, in fact, before I go into the next raid here to finish off with the easiest one as just a, just as a goof, I'm going to show off real quick the main weapon that I'm using on this one, the Maverick here. And point to this. When main weapon, main character only, boosts skill damage cap. This increases that soft cap by 20% for every skill. And actually the Ultima gun up there, which is also on that grid, is another plus 50%. So with this party, a lot of character... I think this applies to everybody, yeah. So this is a 50% skill cap boost. So, like, basically... You wouldn't have seen it much with that last fight, but when you see Matera pulling out 2 million damage skills, what she should usually be doing is way below that. And breaking damage cap with skills is a big thing in a lot of the higher level stuff. Yeah, the Ultima gun is pretty disgusting. That's one of the available boosts for the Ultima type weapons. But you'll notice that one of the things that keeps them in check is that... Actually, this doesn't even say it on the description, but for the Ultima weapons, each of them is obviously one of the 10 weapon types. They only boost characters that... Well, they only give this boost anyway to characters who can use that type... Who have that type of weapon proficiency. So, for example, Medion over here is gun and melee proficiency, so he would get those stat boosts. Everybody gets the skill boost, but the stat boosts are only for gun users. So, he's getting all this shit. He's getting his, like, bonus 25% HP or whatever. But Matera over here does not get it because all she uses are bows. So, one thing is that with those type of weapons, you really want to build a party where most characters use that weapon type. I'm kind of skirting the line a little bit here because not everybody in my party is very good at guns. In fact, very few characters in here. It's mostly just the main class and this fella. So, a lot of it really is just... This party is kind of gimmick-based. It's really just meant to boost up this attack, which basically ends up being a hit button, get 6 million damage effect. No, I have the party mains. I need to change my party's names at some point. So the party's name is listed as WD main, because originally I was going to have, like, oh, here's element main. The party name limits are pretty strict, because... This game is mostly meant to be played in Japanese, so they have Japanese-style character limits. Like, you remember how a lot of the old Pokemon games... This is a thing that I distinctly remember from that weird era where we were playing Gold and Silver through translation patches that were extremely incomplete, is that the character limits on the names were 5 characters, so, like, Pokemon names would be just sliced in half and be... kind of incomprehensible. Yeah, the late 90s was a very strange time in terms of gaming. So, party character name limits are 6 letters long. The same applies for your main character, which is a lot more forgiving in Japanese, where you can say kind of a lot in a very small amount of space. But in English, not so much. You get to name yourself, but the other characters all have their own names and everything, so... Like, we'll pull back up. We'll pull this party back up, so... For example, I probably would rename some of these characters to something a little more pronounceable. So we got Ciruel over here, that's just going to be his name forever. Even if he decides, I don't like that anymore, he's fucked. Although it would be a little strange because he then would have been gaining sentience. Yeah. I don't know if you've noticed, I don't pronounce words very well sometimes. So let's go ahead and let's do our last one for the day. And I'll be showing off, once again, the Extreme Plus feature, which is basically something you can do at a very high rank. It is the equivalent of effectively fighting this raid 3 times at a time. Yeah, unlike the Evangelion Angel. I got what you're on to. I was just making sure that it like came through, that part of it is... Yeah. Alright, so we get our debuffs in here. We're going to try for a 1-turn kill. I can't confirm that that will happen, but we're going to try. So for that, we want the most damage, which is going to be this summon, which has... it deals damage basically as a skill as opposed to the other summons, so the damage calculation is different, and that gives it a really high damage cap. Alright, judicious shot just to make sure we get as much defense down as possible. And in fact, I think at this point, time on target is a kill, but I don't know for sure. Judging by those numbers, that was only 5 out of 6 hits. But, so, yeah, there we go. That is all of the raids I wanted to show off for the day. And, oh, wow, our newest character, I put him in the back of this party specifically because he synergizes with that skill just by virtue of being here. I think his name is pronounced like Nisha or something. It's definitely not how it's written because, you know, name's in Irish. A little bit chunky. A little bit strange to English-speaking, yeah, so... Yeah, yeah, the double flash effect, it definitely has a lot of sensibilities of a lot of the classic Final Fantasies. That very directly throws me back to, like, FF4 in particular. And I mean, I guess it's definitely a thing in a lot of other, like, SNES era RPGs, but also there's a lot of people who worked on Final Fantasy who were involved with this. Nobuo Uematsu did some of the music. Hideo Minaba, who designed the characters from FF9, designed most to all of the characters from this who are not... Well, most of all of the characters from this who aren't from, like, crossover events. So, yeah, that's pretty cool, right? Okay, so I'm gonna take a brief break here while I step away from the stream and... possibly come back with some Wind Waker. I have not decided yet.